The Supreme Court has now issued a ruling in this key case that could decide the future of the abortion pill in America. We talked about this at the top of the show. We've laid out what the scenarios will be. Let me get right to the scenario that the justices have chosen here. We understand they're going with an option to grant the Justice Department's full stay. What does that mean in English? It means they are sending this case, they are essentially sending this case back to the lower court so they can work it out, I believe. It should mean that the pill is still available. Let me get to the expert, though, Yamiche Alcindor, because Kristen Given-Fevins, our legal advisor, is joining us now as well. It looks like it is somewhat status quo at the moment as it relates to the practicality of the abortion pill still remaining available. But help me understand this, because I want to get this right. Are they sending it back to the lower court, or is the Supreme Court picking it up and taking it up for themselves?
From my understanding, Hallie, and from what we're just learning in the last few minutes here, the Supreme Court has agreed to stay the decision. The bottom line, which I think we should go to the practical terms, is that the mifepristone, this abortion pill, and the generic version, from our understanding, will remain available as is. That means you can get it by mail. That means you can take it up to 10 weeks of pregnancy. That means you also don't have to go in person as many times as you had to before. So all of the different things that the FDA has approved are remaining in place. From my understanding, this means now that the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, this goes back to them. There will be oral arguments. Now, I should also say that there are experts who have told us that the Fifth Circuit has already agreed to fast-track the case with oral arguments scheduled before the three-judge panel on May 17th. So this is a big development, but the bottom line is, for now, that this goes back to the lower courts from our understanding, and the access to this abortion pill remains as is.
Kristen, let me go to you here legally on this and your reaction.
Yeah, this is actually a great decision. But keep in mind, this does not necessarily mean that the merits of the matter have been decided. What really the Supreme Court was looking at is whether or not the stay as the preliminary injunction, which was the original form of relief, which is whether or not they could immediately take mifepristone off of the shelves, was going to be in place. And that has a different burden of proof than the actual merits underlying the case as to whether or not the FDA's approval was appropriate, whether or not there was standing to even bring forth this suit by the plaintiffs. Remember, that's a coalition of doctors and abortion opponents. So I'm not surprised at the decision. It'll be very interesting to have the Fifth Circuit weigh in on this, but this is a great thing because it will allow abortion pills to remain on the market.
I'm going through some of this now because it is obviously a pretty in-depth situation here. Kristen, have you had a chance to look at some of the documentation?
Not yet. In terms of the actual from SCOTUS, no, I have not. I'm looking at it as we speak.
Okay, that is good to know, because obviously we want to make sure that we're being clear and careful in the way that this is getting reported out here at the moment. But again, as you've reported, Yamiche and Kristen, this is sort of where we are at the moment. We do know, obviously, that they had a deadline until right up about midnight, 11:59 p.m., to be able to make some kind of a decision here, and there had been a holding pattern. Yamiche and Kristen, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to have you guys stand by in case we get more information or continue to report this out. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.